شهر رو چراغ میکنم آینه بندون میکنم تاج روی زلف تو ستاره بارون میکنم عطر گلان.
1 month after landing of Apollo 11 on July 20, 1969 on the moon, and after passing the foreign language exam at Department of Education in Iran, I was accepted at University of Heidelberg, Germany. It was always a desire for me to get a higher education. I traveled to Tehran to make arrangements for my trip and other passport requirements. My father suddenly arrived in Tehran and intercepted my plan. He proposed to reroute my trip to United States. I had no plan for United States and had no acquaintances in this country to get help, even though I had plenty of knowledge about United States. He finally convinced me to change my mind and purchased one-way ticket with Pan Am for $300 and was scheduled to fly on September 9th of 1969. I had only 3 days to pack, said goodbye to my relatives and families and friends. My last night in Rasht was heartbreaking and emotional. Few of my high school and army friends got together and we took a lot of pictures. They all wished me a good luck for the long journey. I departed from my city on September 7th, accompanied with my mother, uncle, and his wife. I became very hysterical at the airport when my mother fainted and my uncle hugged me so firmly that I thought that he was going to break one of my bones. The flight continued to Rome and stopped at Frankfurt at 6 p.m. I was sitting in a corner and crying my heart out for leaving my country and my family behind. I knew that it would be several years before I could visit them again, but I also knew that God has a mission for me. I continued my flight with SAS airline to Copenhagen, Denmark, and stayed there overnight. I arrived in LAX next day, stopping in Washington, D.C. I stayed at Sepulveda Hotel in Sepulveda Boulevard and stayed there overnight. I was very excited to be in this country, and my first night I dressed up, took a stroll in the street, amazingly saw no one walking. I continued my trip to San Jose next day and to join my cousin who arrived 3 days before me, and he was living with some Iranian students in San Jose. I attended the English school in Concord, California for 2 months and transferred to Graham School, San Jose by the help of some of the student friends. We rented a furnished 2-bedroom apartment for $155 a month, bought a used bicycle for $10 and a used black and white TV for $50. Astonishing, San Jose was more like a Spanish town than the American city. Then later on I realized that San Jose used to be a part of the Mexico. I could not believe my eyes and the abundance of food and cheap prices in the supermarkets. But I needed to be self-sufficient and earn my living. Got my job at the Hyatt Hotel in Palo Alto. I would ride my bicycle to the bus station and lock it up there, and I took the bus for half an hour to get to the hotel. I guess my bike was so old that nobody really attempted to steal it. At my English school, there were 33 foreign students from all over the world, and I really enjoyed talking to them while I wanted to learn something about their country. They all had a desire for achievements. Through education, they all agreed that this is the land of the opportunity. Each is given a part to reach on their goals. I completed English school in August, was accepted at Fullerton College in Southern California. I lived with Barker's family for 18 months in Fullerton to improve my English language, but I was fascinated to learn that they never locked their doors at night. I was also astonished the size of the library at the college. I'm sure that it would be a great tool for my education. I got a job in an Italian restaurant in Huntington Beach while studying at the college. I also met a young girl from Mexico, Marie Olmos, who has been my friend and companion since. I had a good knowledge about her country and loved their music and loved their food. I traveled to Tijuana and Ensenada for a weekend exploration. The custom and the food and architecture of Mexico fascinated me. I decided to study industrial management since Iran was going toward massive industrialization. We decided to get married despite the disapproval of my parents in December 14 of 1972. We had a small but warm ceremony at the residence of one of the ladies who were a member of YMCA in Fullerton, California. I became legal resident of United States in July 18, 1973. That was one of the greatest days of my life. My younger brother arrived in October of 1973 for his studies. I planned to bring all my family members to United States so they could educate and prosper. We decided to travel to Mexico to visit Marie's family in Hermosillo, Sonora. We drove through San Diego and Arizona, passing through Nogales border, and drove about 300 kilometers through the desert and arrived at Hermosillo at 12 midnight. Visiting a well-planned city and a large boulevard and a straight street was really astonishing for me. Also, seeing beautiful beaches by the Sea of Cortez like Quino Bay and Guaymas was so wonderful. Marie's family were very warm and very close. Ironically, her father was in the wholesale fruit market, same as us. The city was located in a dry desert with the beautiful beaches nearby. A mission was established by Eusebio Francisco Quino in 1687 in that area, and that enlarged the city later on to a small town. In 1825, after the War of Independence to Hermosillo, to commemorate the hero of the independence who fought against the Spanish government, I enjoyed many new fruits like plantain, avocados, papayas, mango, granadillas, green zapotes, and chirimoyas and mamey, which we couldn't find in any other countries. We decided to travel to Iran in June 1974. Marie was very excited but scared. She was overwhelmed at the Mehrabad airport when she was faced with 40 of our family members who came to Tehran as welcoming committee. After a few days, we traveled to Mashhad by the way of Mazandaran and had a great time. We visited my dear friend Mehdi in Charlus and stopped at Gombat Gabus in the region of Turkmen's land. I continued my education at the State University of Fullerton and graduated in June of 1976. I also worked in various restaurants and hotels, acquiring great experience from the foreign chefs. I got my first chef job at a Padana restaurant in a Newport Beach. I wanted to return back to Iran to serve my country of whatever I have learned. I received letters of invitation by various ministry and office of Mr. Hoveira, the Prime Minister. Marie got pregnant in August of 76 and her first child was born in April 17, 1977. We decided to return back to Iran. My first sister-in-law arrived in US 2 weeks prior to our departure. I stayed in Tehran for 30 days looking for promised jobs, being interviewed with no result, and driving around to different towns for interview. Finally, nothing came up. I finally decided to return Marie and my son and my sister to US. Then my plan was to return later on. I returned to the United States on December of 1977 after selling all my goods which I purchased from here. We had to start all over again. We worked very hard. We got another job in the restaurant and slowly built up our lives. Unfortunately, I still had my car and nobody wanted to buy it. So I was very grateful that all my family members done very well and prospered in this country. We believed in hard working and education, and it finally paid off.